Mangwanani Malelepo, Vukenjani Kreklas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. It is Thursday, the 23rd of November, and you are joined by Ashton Berry and Diana Master. How are you, Diana?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, energetic, as fiery red as your hair.
I love that. I love that. I absolutely love that. All right, let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. KZN Parliament approves NHI Bill. Cameroon receives first shipment of GSK's Mosquirix malaria vaccine, and Uganda probes unidentified illness as 12 die. A little later on in the show, we'll be crossing over to Zimbabwe to speak to Talent Gore as she updates us on all the news making waves at that side. Stick around. We'll be right back with our top stories right after this break.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Getting into our top stories, the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Legislature on Tuesday approved the National Health Bill seeking to create a single healthcare system where government will be the provider of the bulk of the country's health services. Intended to make quality healthcare accessible to the poor, the NHI Bill, which in July was approved by the National Assembly, is currently being processed by the National Council of Provinces, which has forwarded it to the country's 9 provincial legislatures for input. While KZN MPLs were divided over the NHI issue, the bill was approved after the majority of MPLs backed the measure during Tuesday's special sitting held at the KZN legislature in Pietermaritzburg.
Moving over to Cameroon, Cameroon has received its first shipment of Mosquirix malaria vaccines manufactured by British drug maker GSK plc late on Tuesday, as the nation struggles with a mosquito-borne disease that kills more than 600,000 each year globally. A batch of 331,200 doses of the vaccine, also known as RTSS, was offloaded at Yaounde's Nsimalen International Airport, making Cameroon the first African country to receive the vaccine after the pilot programs in Ghana, Kenya and Malawi. Malaria remains one of Africa's deadliest diseases, according to the World Health Organization, killing nearly 500,000 children under the age of 5 and accounting for approximately 95% of global malaria cases in 2021.
Now, Ugandan health authorities are investigating an unidentified disease outbreak that has killed at least 12 people in a span of 2 weeks in Kayotera district in the central region. Now, affected patients had rashes on the skin which kept widening before dying in a matter of days. Some had swollen limbs. Uganda's Ministry of Health has collected fresh skin samples from one of the patients who died at a local general hospital last week. Its findings are yet to be shared with the public. Local district health officials say some patients were seeking treatment from traditional healers instead of going to health facilities. They said it had become difficult to prevent some of the patients from doing so since the disease was unknown.
Now, on a rather sad note, a desperate crush to get through a stadium gate for an army recruiting event saw at least 31 people trampled to death in the Republic of Congo capital, officials said on Tuesday. A prosecutor said he had opened an investigation into the disaster when several thousand youths descended on the Michel Denano Stadium on Monday night, hoping for one of 1,500 army posts. Security officials said the dead were left after people tried to push through one gate. They said some tried to force the gate open, while others tried to jump over a wall into the stadium. The government revised down a toll of 37 dead to 31, but officials said many of the 145 injured were in serious condition. A 24-year-old man who declined to be named told AFP how people were pushing to get through the gate, sparking a stampede. There were people injured far worse than me, said the survivor who dislocated his foot. The army said in a statement read on national television that the recruiting drive had been indefinitely suspended. Trezonzila, head of local rights NGO, called for a full investigation and to hold the Congolese government responsible for not evaluating the risks of a call-up.
Now, a second round of negotiations between the Ethiopian government and Oromo Liberation Army aimed at ending a 5-year insurgency in Oromia, Ethiopia's largest and most populous regional state, has ended without agreement, the two parties announced separately on Tuesday. Classified as a terrorist organization by Addis Ababa, the OLA has been fighting the Ethiopian authorities since it split with the historic Oromo Liberation Front in 2018, when the latter renounced armed struggle that year when Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came to power. Due to the intransigence of the other side, negotiations ended without agreement. The obstruction and unrealistic demands of the other side are the main reasons why the talks did not succeed, says Redwan Hussein, Abiy Ahmed's national security advisor, on Twitter. Now, the round of peace talks ended without agreement, confirmed OLA spokesperson Oda Tabi on X, blaming the Ethiopian government. Now, those have been our top stories. Interesting stories coming through as we talk to Talent Gore, former finance deputy minister arrested for fraud, and a woman saves her toddler from a baboon. Stay with us.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
All right, now ZANU-PF Central Committee member and former Finance Deputy Minister Terence Mukupe has been jailed for 3 years for diesel smuggling. That makes the second ZANU-PF bigwig in as many weeks facing the hammer of the law. Good morning, Talent. How are you?
Good morning, Ashwin. Good morning, Diana, and Africa. Good morning.
Please continue with the story.
Okay, so former Deputy Minister Terence Mukupe was jailed for an effective 3 years following conviction for importing more than 138,000 liters of diesel in tankers without paying duty. Apparently, the state had moved the court to consider a jail term of at least 3 years plus a fine of at least 122,000 United States dollars, which is less than 3 times the duty payable, and the level that might be fine in far more minor cases. Mukupe was last week convicted along his drivers, in which he used for the importation of the diesel. So there were 4 of them, and the state said that if they can't pay the fine that they are supposed to pay, they are going to have to they have to stay in jail for another 2 years, making it 5. So we're not really sure if they paid the fine or they are yet to pay the fine as yet. But as far as we're concerned, as of right now, they were slapped with a 3-year jail term.
All right, now Talent, we understand, excuse me, a brave mom was able to save her tot after the tot was snatched by a baboon. Talk about an act of bravery, huh?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, apparently a mother in Uganda has told how she chased after a baboon and forced it to give up its unusual prey, which was an 18-month-old baby. Petronella Moyo was doing cleaning in her house on November 16 when the baboon sneaked in and snatched her son after sinking its teeth in his buttocks. She said that I was scrubbing the floor in the bedroom and the child was playing near the door. Suddenly, I heard the baby screaming, and when I turned to check what was happening, I saw the baboon already dragging him. I started chasing after it until it let go of him. The wound is very deep, Moyo said. She also said that she had almost given up hope of getting a son alive, and the veranda for the house is quite high, and when she saw the baboon jump over with him, she thought that the baby was still alive, but apparently she chased the baboon and it dropped her baby, but it had already bitten him so deep, and right now the baby is in hospital where he is getting treatment.
I mean, certainly a brave story, without a doubt, and we certainly wish for the recovery of that baby. And again, truly brave from the mother. And to my other Mukanyas out there, I am disappointed. Moving on. Congregants take church to court over homosexuality. It seems like we've got a glitch there with Talent Gore. She will update us on that. I know that homosexuality is outlawed in Zimbabwe, so this would be some sort of a natural due process should it have been identified. Of course, we wait to see what that means for human rights. We're going to take a short break, which involves us checking out the weather predictions, and then we return with economic news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
All right, in economic news, the Mozambican Tax Authority announced on Tuesday the indefinite suspension of all inspections and audits of commercial establishments. The measure follows abnormal cases such as the duplication of procedures in some situations in a short space of time by two or more teams with the same objective. According to AT spokesperson Fernando Tinga, cited in Wednesday's issue of Maputo Daily Noticais, this is the culmination of an internal evaluation that has been carried out with a view to finding better coordination platforms between the two areas, namely the Directorate General for Customs and the Directorate General for Internal Taxes. Furthermore, the AT explains that it has received complaints from taxpayers pointing to difficulties in understanding the technical language used in audits and inspections. Therefore, given these and other findings, the AT decided to temporarily suspend these processes, said Tinga. However, inspections should resume once the conditions for coordination have been completed. This process will also have to take into account the widespread use of computer systems in order to rationalize the institution's human resources.
Now getting into our next story, Angola's Angola's central bank increased its main interest rate from 17% to 18% on Tuesday, aiming to curb rising inflation, which it hopes to get back into single digits in the medium term. Inflation climbed to 16.58% year-on-year in October from 15.01% in September. It has slowed significantly last year and over the first half of 2023 before being spurred by a steep depreciation of the Kwanza currency over May-June, when the Kwanza dropped by more than and 1/3 against the US dollar. Bank of Angola Governor Manuel Tiago Diaz told a news conference that the bank now saw inflation ending the year above 19% versus an earlier target of 14%. He said the Kwanza had now mostly adjusted to a reduction in foreign exchange supply. During a visit last month, International Monetary Fund officials urged Angola to let the Kwanza float, saying it worked like a shock absorber for external events. Tiago Diaz insisted on Tuesday that the exchange rate was floating, even though the Kwanza has stayed in a tight range around 830 to the dollar since early July.
All right, those have been our economic news stories. We're going to head straight to the indicators just before Ari returns with the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. It's a qualifying games for World Cup 2026 that's taking place all over the world. We're looking at Africa and South America, some of the results, and starting in Africa, it is South Africa that lost 2-0 in Rwanda, and not a good game for them. They had a good start of the qualifying, beating Benin over the weekend, but lost 2-0 in Rwanda. That means Rwanda leading the group at the moment, 4 points after 2 games, South Africa 3 points after 2 games, and then it is Nigeria on 2 points after 2 games. Also related to Southern African qualifying, it is Tunisia that beat Malawi, and they won by 1-0. They now have 6 points after 2 games. It's the same group as when Namibia played. Namibia with a good result, and that was against Sao Tome and Principe, beating them by 2-0. And Namibia now have, after 2 games, also 3 points. Other results related to Southern Africa, it is Niger that beat Zambia by 2-1, and it is Botswana that beat Guinea by 1-0. Also South American qualifying, quite interesting. There were lots of drama in the game against Argentina and Brazil that was played in Brazil, and it was delayed by 30 minutes because of clashes of the crowds, and it was behind one of the goalposts, and many of the players of Argentina got involved as well. It was mostly Argentinian supporters clashing with Brazilian police in the end. The game started 30 minutes late, and in the end it was Argentina winning that game by 1-0. Good away win for them. It was a goal scored in the 80th minute by Otamendi. It was Nicolas Otamendi. He used to play for Manchester City. He's a defender, scoring the winner for Argentina. Other results from South American qualifying: Colombia, they've got a away win against Paraguay, 1-0, and Uruguay continuing their good form. They beat Bolivia by 3-0. Continuing with tennis news on international sports news, and it is Davis Cup team tennis results. It is quarterfinals taking place at the moment, and it's Canada that's out of the tournament. They're the defending champions. They won in 2022. They lost to Finland 2-1. It is team tennis, 2 singles games and a doubles game. A setback for Canada, it was their number 1 player, Felix Auger-Aliassime. He couldn't play because of injury, replaced by Gabriel Diallo, and Diallo lost to Otto Vintanen by 6-4 and 7-5, and then Finland also winning the doubles to win the game. Finland will now play next the winners of Australia versus the Czech Republic, and more quarterfinals through the week. The semi-finals will be on Friday, and the finals of the Davis Cup will be on Sunday. Closing off today's international sports news with cricket news, it is the SA20, the T20 International Tournament, second season taking place in South Africa from January. It will start on the 10th of January. The final have been announced to be on the 10th of February. That will be in Cape Town at Newlands. Lots of international players are playing, high-profile players, mostly from England, playing in the tournament. It will be players like Moeen Ali, also Sam Curran, Josh Butler, Jofra Archer, and also David Malan. And the South African players that played in the recent World Cup also spread over the 6 franchises. Quinton de Kock will play for the Durban Super Giants, and then the MI Cape Town team do have Kagiso Rabada in their team. The Paul Royals, good enough to have David Miller, and then the Sunrisers Eastern Cape have a strong batting lineup, and they will have Aiden Markram and the South African 50-over captain and T20 captain Temba Bavuma also playing for the Sunrisers Eastern Cape. So the SA20 T20 Tournament, international tournament, starting on the 10th of January. So exciting cricket in the new year. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
You're still with Africa. Good morning for those of you that are just joining us. Let's take a look at the highlights from today's broadcast. KZN Parliament approves NHI Bill. Cameroon receives first shipment of GSK's Mosquirix malaria vaccine. Tax authority suspends inspections and audits of commercial establishments.
Those have been our stories, and we had some intriguing stories with talent Gore Terence Mukupe, SANU-PF Central Committee member and former Deputy Finance Minister, arrested for 3 years, jailed for 3 years because of smuggling diesel without paying customs. And a Zimbabwean mother rescued her child from the clutches of a baboon, which is, bravery. I remember in Namibia, there's a mother who rescued a child from a crocodile.
Oh my goodness.
The animal kingdom needs to be clear. Listen, there's lions, then there's African mothers.
Yes.
You're not
you're not going to win that battle.
You're not winning that battle. Thank you so much for joining Africa Good Morning, DSTV 285, GoTV 25, 1up2.com, NTV on Facebook, all the places that you can find us, from Diana Master and Ashwin Berry. Swera Jaganaka.